there's a reason why Gibson's Steakhouse does not have a drive-thru. They're not the cheapest price in the market. You go there for the experience based off of the value that you're going to get. People spend about 2.5 seconds with a piece of content, and on mobile, which is where most of the traffic is from, it's down to 1.7 seconds.
Wow.
So you have to be short, sweet, and to the point.
You're talking about his marketing business.
Yeah.
Right. So,
sorry, I got.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to edit him out. You just talked to me today. Wait,
This
no way.
is the best stranger basement experience I've ever had.
Nice.
This is the good life. Out in the sunshine, nothing but good times. This is the good life.
Welcome to Coffee and Cameras, where me and Jaysin like to invite special guests to help us educate you as the viewer and us. This week we have Alan Stern, and he's going to give us all sorts of good tips. And we go clink.
Then we go clink. Guest clink. Hilda, that was a beautiful intro.
Thank
It was
you.
good. I almost want to hear the used car introduction again.
Yeah, that's yeah.
It was his tone, like, did you not hear the salesy
It was
in
great.
his
I couldn't
voice?
keep a straight face either. So it was great. I love it. Do it again. It's fun.
No, my intro is terrible. My
Okay.
intro is super salesy. So,
So
welcome to the show.
We're so happy to have you.
Why are you in our basement?
No. How did you end up in our basement? This is a fun story.
Well, I should be asking you how I ended up here because you guys reached out to me for some content. So
I put out a Facebook notice. I said, hey, anybody want to talk about some fun stuff on a podcast? And your friend Julie responded to me. And after I got to chatting with her, she's like, I have somebody better that can provide more value. And that's how
and
you're
fast
here.
forward a little bit, because of Julie, I'm now in a stranger's basement. So hopefully I live to see the rest of this. So anyways, you know what? My day was going good, and now that I'm here, it's great.
Awesome.
That's amazing.
Yay.
I like literally when you opened the door too, it was just positive energy, and I just felt like, well, get downstairs now, get on camera. I want this energy. So like being around you for the last 20 minutes has been a joy. I can't wait to pick your brain about way more stuff.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Oh my God, thank you for coming on this, and you out there in TV land. Get ready for an episode that is filled to the brim with value, because today you're going to be walking away with something that you can actually put to use right now.
And for free.
That's kind of like your motto, isn't it?
Yeah, do-it-yourself marketing, leveraging AI, because even though I love people, sometimes you just got to say, screw it, I'm doing it myself.
That is awesome. Okay, so you gave us your elevator pitch right there. Walk us through, like, what do you do, Alan? Like, explain your brand.
Yeah, definitely. So what I'm an AI marketing consultant for small businesses. Sounds fancy. What does it mean? I specialize in do-it-yourself marketing. So if you are a team of one, you're a realtor, loan officer, insurance agent, speaker, financial advisor, whatever it is, you are in a production-based role, but there's a chance that you're also too small for most marketing agencies to work with. So where does that leave you? Trying to figure out how to do this stuff yourself. So what I do is I show you how to leverage AI as the best employee that you don't have to put on payroll. Leverage ChatGPT as your market research company and as your copywriter, so you can do it yourself and fast.
How long have you been using this method?
So my background for the past, let's just call it almost 2 decades, has consisted of owning a DJ company and selling cars. 2 completely unrelated fields.
Yeah.
Like almost zero in common. But the one thing that they have in common is the fact that I had to learn how to market myself without spending any money. So what I did is I started a business about 2.5 years ago, showing others how to do the same. I was actually selling cars in tandem with growing persona marketing for about 1.5 years. Finally cut the strings at the end of March and went full-time, took the entrepreneurial leaf, and never looked back.
Here we are. And
Here we are in a stranger's basement.
Oh, the heights we have climbed.
That's great.
I got to glow about your business really quick. Your brand's name is Persona Marketing. And that's exactly what you preach. Like, you are literally teaching what you are, like what your brand is. I think that's beautiful, because what you were telling us before was it's not the product that people are buying, it's the people they are buying it from.
For sure. What I've found is experience is the best teacher. So in my experience, I've had to learn how to do this stuff myself. When you think of selling cars, that's as hyper competitive of a field as it gets. Whether it's a dealership down the block that doesn't have a new car franchise attached to it, or whether it's one of the tens of thousands of dealerships that are, at a keystrokes away. Before people buy from a brand, they're going to buy from a person that represents a brand. So what I've found is if you show your personality in your marketing, all it's going to do is it's going to help you out. That's also how you create a market of one, because again, it's a race to the bottom as far as price unless people actually know what the value is. And unless you convey what the value actually is of doing business with you, people are going to resort to the lowest price.
Can you define what that means, conveying the value?
Yeah, so people will pay twice the price for 4 times the amount of value, as long as they understand what it actually is. You take a look at designer products, let's just take a look at shoes. They kind of do the same things. It doesn't matter if you get a pair of shoes from Payless for, handful of bucks or whatever it is, or if you go out and spend several $100s on it, the value is subjective based off of what the person wants. Somebody who wants something that's much more upscale, that's going to last a long time, that wants something that's fashionable and is chasing an image, they're going to spend the money on it. Same thing. You know what? There's a reason why Gibson's Steakhouse does not have a drive-through. They're not the cheapest price in the market. You go there for the experience based off of the value that you're going to get.
Wow, that's dude. That was a statement.
That was beautiful.
That was quite a statement.
I appreciate it. It just flew out of my mouth. I don't even remember what I said.
So we're done.
Thank you all for tuning in today.
You said that there's a reason why Gibson's Steakhouse doesn't have a drive-through. That right there just illustrates perfectly what a high value restaurant is. A high
high value.
Yeah, you don't need to explain why Gibson's doesn't have a drive-through. It's obvious because it's a high-class establishment. I love that.
People will always pay for an experience. That's what they remember.
Right.
It's not what you say. It's not even how you say it. It's how your audience feels when they receive the message.
That's it.
For example, the DJ company, you can create a Spotify playlist at your wedding. You really absolutely can. There's nothing stopping you from it. It's music, but you won't have the experience of a MC that's actually introducing the bridesmaids and the groomsmen. You won't have the experience of a full-blown PA sound system, and you won't have a trained professional's eyeballs on it. So again, that's what people are truly paying for.
We've worked in the wedding industry for years, and I've had a lot of couples ask me, like, do I really need a DJ? And I was like, okay, there's a reason I call it the big 5. Here are the big 5 vendors you need to pick first before everything else. And a DJ or a band, but an MC, someone who can control the evening, because your evening might not go according to plan. So having someone who knows how to rock a party and can see the ebbs and flows.
And read a dance floor. So just because your favorite song is requested, and there's 2 people dancing and 200 sitting, you need a DJ to 100%. Cut that song ASAP. Yeah.
It's funny, when I meet with my clients, I always talk about the 2 extremes when it comes to wedding DJs. There's a lot of people that say, hey, you know what? Times are, contracting right now, and I'm paying for everything myself. So I'm looking for a $500 DJ. You absolutely can find one.
You can.
You can go on Craigslist. You can go on Facebook Marketplace. And you know what? When everybody else is in a suit and tie, they're going to show up in a polo and a ball cap. Yep. They're going to show up with a sound system that may or may not work, a microphone that they got at Radio Shack 20 years ago that sounds like absolute hell. And you know what? People will remember it, just not in a good way.
Yep.
Now, there's the other side of that where you're going to find a full-blown event company that does 200-300 events a year. Nothing wrong with that. It's a full-scale business. But now the challenge becomes, you know what, sometimes clients end up feeling like they are just treated like a number because the intimacy and the personalization isn't there. So what is the end result? People are paying for expertise. You're in the specialized knowledge business, and the idea is to create a memorable experience.
100%.
Which is just like helping other businesses with their marketing. Oh my God! I love that we've gone down this rabbit hole and taken all these twists and turns. We've dug into your website. We've looked at your social media. We've really not only love what you're teaching and what you're saying, but we side with it. Literally, we had a conversation after we had first talked in an email, and we had a conversation. We're like, oh my God, he's saying the exact same things we are. And it's so nice to be able to correlate that with another human being rather than reading it in a blog or seeing it in a video. So let's talk about your business and what kind of value you're bringing to your clientele, or really to everybody. So when you work with someone one-on-one, or you work with a wide audience such as this, or when you do presentations. I'm just going to keep talking until someone cuts me off.
No, I appreciate
So
you saying that.
you're talking about his marketing business,
Yeah.
right? So
Sorry, I got.
okay,
Yeah.
we're going to edit him out. He just talked to me today. I know that you use the HEAT method. So can you tell us exactly what that is, and then give us a little value for each acronym, I guess?
Absolutely. I'll show the audience today an actionable step that they
Oh,
can take
perfect.
to pull this off in like 2 minutes or
So
less.
okay, so just keep in mind that you're very good at speaking and you're very fast at speaking. Slow it down a little bit for the blondes, so I can comprehend, All right.
Hilda needs to take notes while
Exactly,
you're
yes.
talking.
And I don't write that fast.
So,
All
so
right.
I'm going to start this off by actually giving everybody who's listening to this today 3 marketing stats that everybody should know. Number 1 is the amount of time that we spend on social media a day. Now, without looking it up, if you had to guess, what do you think the amount of time that the average person spends on social media a day is?
I'm going to guess 90 minutes.
Okay.
I would say about 3 hours.
Okay. So it's about 2.5 hours. So you guys are both close. Now, 2.5 hours may not seem like much, but let's actually compound that over the course of a year. 2.5 hours over the course of a year is 864 hours, which is the equivalent to 36 full days a year. That's what the average person is spending on
Wow.
social media. So I bring this up from a standpoint of saying, like, if you are a salesperson or a business owner and you're not at least somewhat active on here, you're really leaving a lot of money on the table. But we can't just post because we get hit left and right with advertisements. Every single day we get beat over the head with robocalls, with automated emails, with ringless voicemails, with all of these things. And the second stat that everybody should know is we see between 4,000 and 10,000 advertisements every single day.
Right.
So half of the battle is getting noticed. The other half is getting remembered. Because according to Microsoft, they did a study back in 2016 about the attention span of a human being,
Yep.
which was less than a goldfish.
Yep.
8.25 seconds.
Which has gone down.
It's gone down.
Yeah.
And
We-
Facebook, to chime in on this, they did a study back in 16 that said that on desktops, people spend about 2.5 seconds with a piece of content, and on mobile, which is where most of the traffic is from, it's down to 1.7 seconds.
Wow.
So you have to be short, sweet, and to the point. So what does that have to do with the HEAT method? Well, as somebody who has attended a lot of networking events in my life, what I had to do is figure out a way to stay top of mind without spending any money. So I came up with this thing called the HEAT method, which allows people to warm up to you over time. You can literally, if you pull this off correctly, meet somebody in person one time, add them on social media, and based off of what you post, they begin to know you, like you, trust you, and you build a reputation that does the selling for you. So let's unpack all of this. So humor is the first part. The HEAT method, by the way, stands for humor, education, adding value, and trust. You check off all 4 of those. Again, you build a reputation that does the selling for you. Now, the reason why most people go on social media is so that they can be entertained. Like, if you've ever wondered what your audience is likely doing right now, here's what they're doing.
Yep.
Mindlessly
True.
scrolling
True.
on social
'Cause
media.
that's what we do. So
Because that's what
absolutely.
we do.
Yeah.
I'll give you a good laugh. Next time that you go to the mall, you go to Chipotle, you go to the grocery store, you'll see a bunch of teenagers in the same group staring at their phone and nobody's talking to each
100%.
other.
100%.
So we know it's happening, but is it good or is it bad? Well, with a little strategery, it could be pretty good for you. And here's how to actually pull that off. So the idea of humor is you're meeting people on a platform that they are there to be entertained. But when people laugh, they tend to remember what made them laugh. In this case, that's you. That's your business. But we're in a time right now where everybody seems to be running around busy and stressed out. So if you make people laugh and you have good energy, which you commented on earlier, people naturally tend to gravitate towards those who put a smile on their face.
Okay, I have a question though.
Yeah.
What if you don't have a natural sense of humor? Like, what if you don't know how to make people laugh? What if you're just like a serious business person? Like, how would somebody approach that?
Yeah, you asked ChatGPT for some good meme ideas, and I'll give you some tactical stuff that everybody can use like right now. 2 minutes or less execution time. So the idea is the humor is not really about being funny. It's about creating a connection. So your audience sees it and they say,
Whoa,
hey,
whoa.
I don't...
Hold up.
Yeah.
I think that's say that again.
Yeah, the humor is really not about being funny. It's about creating a connection.
That's super important.
And
That's
if you
gold
want to
right
get into
there.
psychological theory, humor is actually derived from connecting 2 parts of your brain that have not connected before. or had not heard or understood before.
100%.
So
And
you're making connections.
you are. And here's the other thing, too, to even dive deeper into the psychology on this. When people laugh, there's a hormone that's released called oxytocin,
Right.
which a lot of times is referred to the trust hormone. And if people do business with those who they know, like, and trust, humor just speeds up the path to trust. So the idea is for your audience to see this, and even if they met you one time, they say, I don't know this person, but they seem kind of cool. Like,
Right.
business aside, I go and grab drinks with them. I go and grab coffee with them. So the humor is what gets the eyeballs, but that's not why people are actually going to buy from you. Because if you get lost in humor, which is very easy to do, eventually people say, are you a comedian, or can you actually help me? Now, that's where you blend the second part, which is education-based marketing. In the world of business, we exchange money to solve problems. People join a chamber of commerce because it solves the problem of them not knowing people and them needing to expand their market. People go to a restaurant because it solves the problem of I don't feel like cooking or cleaning or I'd like to be entertained. People hire a DJ because it solves the problem of, I'm not going to take my chances on a Spotify playlist. I want a professional to make sure that my wedding isn't the laughingstock of the town. So whatever it is, what happens is when you sell, you break rapport. But when you educate, you build it. So now all of a sudden,
there's another gem.
Oh, you need a shirt, man. You need
Okay.
a shirt factory.
When you sell, you break rapport, but when you educate, you build it.
you build it. And I got that from a book called
That's-
Ultimate Sales Machine, which I highly encourage anybody who's listening. Chet and Amanda Holmes are the ones that wrote this book.
Sales machine.
The Ultimate Sales Machine. So here, look at it like this. When you sell, you break rapport, but when you educate, you build it. When you sell, there is resistance, but when you educate, there isn't any resistance.
Right.
Let's say that I was still selling cars, and Julie, who connected us today, told me that you had a 20-year-old car with a bad air conditioning system, and you were thinking of getting rid of it. If I just came up and tried to start selling you right off the bat, and I said, hey, I heard your AC's not working. That's a $2,000 repair. I hear X, Y, and Z's wrong. Hey, have you thought about buying a car? You're going to say, this guy is a complete jagoff. I would never buy a car from him. But if I just met you and I took the education approach and I said, hey, you know what? I actually have this guide on 5 easy hacks that you can do right now if you want to make your car last another 5 years. And there's actually a calculator right over here at the bottom that if you have spent more than X amount of dollars in 1 year and you divide that by 12 months in the year, that's your car payment. And if you have a 20-year-old car, maybe you're paying $300 a month on a car that you should be retired.
Wow.
There's no selling involved.
No.
Now it just became your idea to do business.
Right.
So the
I would be
idea-
so thrilled if somebody like educated me like that. I would be like super thankful, and I would definitely want to reach out to them if I was looking for. That's
For
smart.
sure. So when you give, it's you that actually receives. Now, what happens is when you start using education in your marketing, you're not viewed as a salesperson. You're viewed as a resource. And when you're viewed as a resource, you know what happens? People want to pick your brain. And when they pick your brain, you've just now generated a lead by solving a problem. So you blend humor with education. Your audience says, hey, this person's cool, but they can actually help me.
Wow.
You just do those two things, you will notice a dramatic spike in your engagement on social media. It's how you're able to advertise in a cool way. Now, it's very easy to take a meme or a GIF and turn it into an advertisement that people will willingly share. As a matter of fact, if you're looking for a good resource, imageflip.com, imgflip.com, you can go there. It's every meme template that you've ever seen. So let's say that I still sold cars. Like my whole business was started off of bad things that happen when you buy a car without calling me first. I would go on ImageFlip. I would type in an image of somebody being stressed out. And I would put a caption over it that says, how it feels when you buy a car without calling me first. And you know what happens? Somebody would see it and they would say, oh man, that's funny. I'm going to share it. And now what they did is they just passed along my business card, but they've done it in a cool way.
Bingo.
So humor and education, that's the H and that's the E. The third is my personal favorite, adding value, which is actually more of a philosophy, but this is how you get everybody in the room talking about you without spending any money. Like you heard that correctly. This is how you become omnipresent. To just start from the basics, I'm sure we can all agree, we live in a world of scams.
True.
Yep.
Every day we hear about somebody's Facebook getting hacked, or we hear about some scam with credit card fraud, or somebody's identity gets stolen, or on the grand scale of things, I want to say it was a week ago. We just talked about, we just heard a story about, I think almost everybody in the country's social security number got leaked. There's
Like last week, I saw this breach. Yeah.
So we live in a world of scams. So it's not what you say. It's not even how you say it. It's how your audience feels when they receive the message. Now, humor adds value. Education adds value. But that's in business. When we start talking about recommendations, like let's say that there was a good lunch happy hour or a good movie or a good book or a documentary, or there was an introduction that I made. I'm going to steal a quote from a guy named Alex Hermosi, which you should absolutely check out.
I follow him. Yeah, I watch his YouTube like it's religion, yes.
One of my all-time favorite books, $100 Million Offers, $100 Million Leads, every bit as good. But when you introduce something of value to somebody, they associate that value with you.
Correct.
In other words, you become the source, which means we make this podcast right now. We dice it up into content. We post it out in the world, and somebody had never heard of me before that got exposed to me from your audience. You become the source. You become the means of connection. So now what happens is think of your hobbies for a second. I talked about two of them, DJing, which I still do, craft beer, which I talked about before this, but I'm a huge craft beer guy. Here's what happens. Over the years, I have had probably no less than 100 of my clients at the dealership hit me up and say, hey, I'm going to go and check out this brewery, or I'm going to go to Binny's. I know you're a beer guy, Alan. What do you recommend that I get? So now, in a non-business way, I am top of mind without spending any money. The DJ company, if I want to make somebody a Spotify playlist because they're looking for some new music, who are they going to think of when they're jamming out to it?
Wow.
When you introduce something of value to somebody, they associate that value with you. But you know what? Free value leads to trust. And people do business with those who they know, like, and trust. Nielsen, which is one of the biggest market research companies in the game, did a study that said 92% of people trust recommendations from friends and family over any sort of advertisement.
Yep.
Which means, why the hell would I tell you that I'm awesome if I could have somebody else do it for me? And way better.
Precisely.
So that's a quick way for you to scale the sale, because when you make a sale, you also lose your best prospect. But if you take a recommendation or a review and go on Canva and now turn it into a graphic and display it across social media, well, now somebody else has done the selling for you. So by combining humor, education, adding value, and trust, you can meet somebody in person one time, build a reputation that does the selling for you. So when your marketing goes cold, drop some heat.
Dude, that was so smooth at the end. I didn't even see it coming.
Oh, come on.
Oh, I didn't. I was like, I'm just sitting here like a little kid at a toy store, like, tell me more.
If you want more info, go to dropsomeheat.com.
I love it. You're hysterical. That's totally something I would do on somebody's podcast. Mad
so
props.
good.
Man. I'm impressed.
I have to ask, like, something we always try to tell people is always to have like a talking point. You know, whatever you do, whatever type of business you do, have some kind of talking point. So when you do go on a podcast or you go out to a meeting or a luncheon or whatever, you have something to bring of value. Is heat your talking point that you can bring to the table, so to speak?
It's one of them. Do-it-yourself marketing, the heat method, leveraging AI. I mean, these are all areas that I can hit on.
Can we talk about AI, ChatGPT specifically, and like, because I feel like it's kind of like AI is so scary for a lot of people, especially business owners who are not familiar. And thanks to Jaysin, like, I'm totally like, good with it. And I still say please and thank you. And just in case
we should, because they're going to uprise and they're going to take us over.
I just don't want to be rude.
It's not far off.
Yeah.
I welcome our robot leaders.
Yes. So ChatGPT, like, what is like the one misconception that people have, and what is the one tip that you want to give about that?
Yeah, I mean, all it is a tool. Okay. That's it. It's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Is it free? Is it paid? What?
It's free. It's freemium, so it's freed with a paid option.
Okay. Just
like all of the apps like ImageFlip, Canva that I'd mentioned earlier, they're all free. The basic plan doesn't cost you anything.
Okay.
But for some of the cool advanced stuff,
like what?
Text to image, it'll write a little bit better. It'll do do data tables. Like, there's a whole bunch of things. For $20 a month, I view it as a business owner. I actually view it as a crime, like not having it. That's how valuable it is.
Didn't you just sign up for the paid version?
Well, because I've been using it for free for the past year, trying to get to know it, trying to learn prompts and things like that.
Yeah.
Before I was using Midjourney trying to learn image prompts. But now that I know it, I'm like, I'm all in.
Midjourney's great.
I
too,
love
man.
I love
it.
Midjourney. But like ChatGPT, the amount of flexibility it has is tremendous. And I think a lot of people look at AI as in do it for me. Where I think, this is where I want to have a conversation with you, is I think so many business owners are like, well, make a video for me. I sell earrings, make an earring video. It's like, that's not how it works. You need to put in the work and the effort and then use it as a twist tool at the end where it's like, this is a great phone. I love this phone. How can I decorate the phone? Like, so that's the way I view it. Like, so I'll write my blog post and then I'll be like, I write like a 7th grader, make it sound more appropriate.
Sure.
Like, so how do you go about utilizing AI, especially ChatGPT? Because I think it's very ubiquitous now in our society.
100%. So for those who are intimidated of it, just think of it like you doing a math problem by hand versus a calculator. It's the easiest way to do it.
Oh, I love that.
Like AI, it's not a new topic. It's been around a long time.
Right.
Now, what I show my clients how to do is leverage this for 2 things. Number one is your market research company, so you know who you're actually talking to, and as your copywriter. Like, my disclaimer on this, though, is although it will write articles for you, it has to be from you.
Yes.
You have to know what's in it. The last thing that you want to do is write an article and your whole audience knows instantly that it wasn't from you. Like, it's good, but it's not perfect. Sometimes it'll just put out something that's wrong. So you will lose all credibility if you make an article and you give it to somebody and there's something that's wrong in it.
Yeah. So double check it and do research.
For sure.
Yeah.
So make it your own. Use it as your thinking partner. And on the other hand,
Thinking
the last thing,
partner.
the last,
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off.
you're
That
good.
was
That
so
was
good.
I know. I'm writing this down too.
use it as your thinking partner. And the last thing that you want to do is literally have it write an article and give it to somebody, and now they say, oh my good, this article is life-changing. I love what you said in paragraph 4, sentence 2. Ooh. Meanwhile, you have no idea what it is because you didn't write it. So don't be that person.
Right.
So I'll give you an easy hack, and I'm just going to freestyle this. So give me a business. And give me any industry that you can think of.
Hairdresser.
Hairdresser. All right. So let's say that the hairdresser wanted to sell a service.
Okay.
And it's amazing, too, because my girlfriend has owned a hair salon for a very
nice.
long time. So if you're watching this on the replay, congratulations. Y'all have some great advice.
Plug her.
Yeah. So Nova Hair Studio.
There you go.
Awesome.
Where at?
Park Ridge.
Oh, that's right near my studio. I'm in Edison Park.
Oh, seriously?
Nova Hair Studio. Okay, I got to hook up with her. Nova Hair Studio.
Yeah, absolutely. 2E Northwest Highway right by the Pickwick.
I'm at 2E in Harlem in Chicago.
Oh, my goodness.
5 minutes from the Pickwick.
This
no way.
is the best stranger basement experience I've ever had.
Nice. What's your girlfriend's name?
Leah Logston.
Hey, Leah. I'm going to come and see you soon.
This is the best.
This is great. So let
We
me
got the
fire,
intro.
Yeah.
So let me fire off some strategery here on how
Okay.
you could actually use ChatGPT for free. So let's say that I'm a hairstylist and I
Okay.
wanted to sell a keratin treatment, which is
Okay.
a high ticket service. I can literally use ChatGPT as my thinking partner by going on there and typing, what are 5 problems that would cause somebody to want to consider purchasing a keratin treatment? And you know what it's
Okay.
going to do? It's going to fire out 5 reasons right there. I'm using this as my market research company because if people exchange money to solve problems, I now just found problems that make the phone ring in the first place.
So you tell ChatGPT, give me 5 problems or 5 reasons why people use the keratin treatment. Then what happens? What's the next step after that?
Yeah, so there's a term that's called a prompt sequence, which is a set of instructions that you give. Where this is different from Google is Google, you just do a search and that's it. But you can interact. You can have dialogue with ChatGPT. This is why it's called ChatGPT. You can do the same thing on Google Gemini, by the way, which is their version of it. So now I've got problems that make the phones ring, but it doesn't mean somebody's actually going to buy from me. I need to create urgency. Otherwise, people are naturally going to drag their feet. So I could follow that up and I can say, what are the consequences of not solving the problems listed above?
Right.
So now I have a way to create urgency. Now, if I was a hairstylist and I met somebody at a networking event that experienced said problem, I could educate them on why they shouldn't wait. Otherwise, this could happen. And now if I wanted to get a target audience, I could follow that up by saying, give me an audience that is most likely to experience each of the problems that are listed above. And now I know who to look out for.
Wow.
These are things that would cost you thousands of dollars prior.
Minimum. Yeah.
I look at this. I'm genuinely depressed for the people who are not using it. I feel like if you're a business owner and you're not using this, your credit
Right.
score should go down. so you've
funny.
got that. And now we had talked a little bit about articles before. So, okay, we know that ChatGPT will write articles for us, but how much better would that article be if I said, create an article towards blank audience experiencing blank problem,
Right.
explaining why they should purchase a keratin treatment service.
Wow.
Now it became a sales letter.
And now you have a template.
Now I have a template. And now I can ask for variations. I could say, give me a variation of this, but make it funny. Give me a variation of this, but drop a couple dad jokes in it. Give me a variation of this, but write it from the perspective of Bruce from the movie Bruce Almighty. Like, have some fun with this. Push ChatGPT to its limits.
Yeah.
So that is how pretty much anybody can use AI as their copywriter and their market research company, and ultimately is the best employee that they don't have to pay for.
That's
or
amazing.
cheap enough that it's less than coffee.
For
No
sure.
kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
As an added thing to this, something that I've been playing with the last like 4 or 5 months, I've been creating a brand identity on one constant stream on ChatGPT, where it's like I've programmed it to ask me questions, and I'm gonna never stop asking questions. But I'm building everything we are as a brand so that I can refer back to it in other chats. So I can be like, I need a title for a video to post in our brand identity, and it goes through our entire 6 months of all this information. It's unstoppably brilliant, and like you said, if you're not using it, it's criminal.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I'll give you an example, and this is one thing that I saw. Mind you, I retired myself from the car business about 5 months ago, but here's one way that I
5
was
months?
using 5 months
Good
ago.
for
that
you!
recent?
Congratulations,
Wow.
Thank
man.
you. Scariest move I've ever made in my entire life. I literally lit a match to what some people would consider to be a dream career.
I do want to ask about cars right after you're done.
We have
with this,
questions.
so yeah.
Yeah,
we do.
no, I'm actually gonna continue on the car subject too. But so as far as just to give you an idea of where this is headed, is ChatGPT, from what I understand, and I could be wrong on this, but I understand that it will scrape data from websites, which means, let's say that I wanted to just pick any used car from the website. I can copy and paste a URL into ChatGPT and say, give me 5 audiences that might be interested in this car.
Wow.
Give me 5 reasons why said audience would benefit from this car. And now all of a sudden, this thing's doing the selling for you.
Wow.
So the car business is so unique, and you will always need a human there to actually be a product specialist and an advisor and to onboard you and set up the technology and all that. But we're getting to a point where what I really see happening, and I would even timestamp this within a couple of years, is your consumer has the ability now to just fill out a request for information on any dealership's website and have that chat sequence be started from that. Now, again, there's pros and cons with this for sure, but you're talking 24 hours a day that you don't have to pay benefits.
Yep.
Every
Can I say something about that? I
Yeah.
bought a car about a year ago when I started my online research and did the whole Googling. And every time I went to a car website, there was, and I thought it was an actual person chatting with me. I found out later that it was AI chatting with me. It's like, how can I help you? And I'm like, I'm looking for car X and blah, blah, blah. So I was actually chatting with AI, and it was answering my questions about that car or that specific business or whatever I was looking for at the moment. And I didn't even know it until later. And it kind of blew my mind that that's how advanced it is now. So
I mean, do you think most online chats are run by AI now? Because very few of them feel real.
Yeah, most of them are. Now, on the other hand, and I just want to address something. This comes up a lot. People are like, all right, so are the robots coming for our jobs? The reality is, look, every business wants to make more money, and they want to lower expenses. AI is a convenient solution. But again, and this is why I name my company Persona Marketing, because before people buy from a brand, they buy from a person that represents a brand. Now, it's August of 2024 now. Let's wind the clock back about 4 years ago during the COVID madness. I don't know about you, but almost every restaurant that I went to was understaffed and the service was lousy.
Yes.
Which meant if a server decided to just do a rock star job and blew us away, I'm not tipping 20%. I'm tipping 40, 45,
Right,
50,
totally.
because of the experience.
Right.
And the one that was able to provide that experience was the human being. So when the world zigs, there's a huge opportunity to zag. And if everything is becoming automated, it's a great opportunity to deliver that extra personal touch. And that was my whole mantra in the car business.
Wow.
Like, before I even give you the stat, if you were to guess, what percentage of people dislike buying cars? If you were to go on Google right now and
Oh
type
my
that in.
God. I would say 95%.
I would say high. I would say easily in the 90s.
Yeah, so there was a study that, mind you, this was done in 2016, but 87% of the world dislikes something about buying a car.
Yep.
Wow.
My job was to show you how to be part of that 13% that enjoys it and deliver an experience that is so smooth that you'll actually brag about it.
All right. I got to ask, like, what did you do? Like, what did you bring to the table that made people go, I'm part of that 13%, which, by the way, I don't know anyone in that percentage range.
Well, for sure, the majority of people cringe and would probably
Right.
rather get a root canal.
I was
Yes.
going to say, that is equal
Versus
to
buying a car.
dentist.
100%.
Right. So here's how you do it. First off, you do everything through your personal cell phone number. That way they know that you're not going to screen the calls and they can text you. And it's not about you, it's about them. So what I would do, all the time, my clientele were local Chamber of Commerce members from probably within a 5 to 10 mile radius of where the dealership was. So if somebody couldn't come to me for a test drive, I'd slap a plate on it, bring it to them. I do a driveway drop off.
Wow.
So if you take a look at it like this, all right, well, from an advertising standpoint, if I deliver that experience, how likely are you to tell a friend?
100%.
100%.
Never happened before.
Right.
So now all of a sudden, who just got free advertising?
You did.
Right.
Right there.
So can I ask a little side question? So what is the biggest mistake that people make when buying a car?
Yeah, and that's such a good question because there's so many of them. Number one is you always got to test drive the car.
Okay.
You wouldn't buy most people wouldn't buy a pair of shoes
Wait,
without trying them
Is
on.
there somebody that doesn't test drive cars?
There's a lot of people that come into the dealership and say, yeah, especially with the brand like I used to work for. I used to work for Lexus.
Okay.
Lexus every single year is number one in dependability, number one in experience, and it is arguably the most trusted brand in the business.
Okay.
So what happens is we would have people that would come in and they would say, I've had 5 of these cars. I know how it drives. I know I'm going to like it. I don't want to drive it. I just want your best price. And you know what happens?
What?
There's salespeople that would buy into that and not drive the car. So what are the repercussions of that? Well, there's a lot that's changed in 10 to 15 years. Mainly, a lot of these cars have start-stop motors. You may be coming from a V6. Now it's a 4-cylinder turbo. You may have said, I like the size of this. Well, cars back then used to be smaller than they are now. That's why there's so many different sizes. So people would make the mistake of not driving it, and you can't return a car. So now all of a sudden somebody spends hours and hours and hours negotiating over a car that they may or may not even like. So number one, you always want to drive the car. Number two is you always need to make sure that you have an idea of where you'd like to be at payments. I can't tell you how many times over the years that I saw people come in, expect to have a $300 a month car payment on a $30,000 car with no money down on a purchase, not a lease, to the point where you almost want to say, well, before you buy a car, you should buy a calculator because of math.
Yeah.
So I'll keep you at 300, except it's going to be bi-weekly as opposed to monthly. Does that work for you?
Wow.
So, you always want to make sure, because this is something that you're going to keep for a while. You always want to make sure that you at least know it. And the only way to know it is to get up and actually drive it.
Didn't you go through because Jaysin bought a new car for the first time ever, right? A few
I
years
bought my
ago.
first new car ever. It's always been used cars, but I'm a Sasquatch. That's why my chair is lower than you guys. And I just don't fit in cars. So when I found a car, it came down to 2 cars. And now it just came down to where it was at. But still, when I got the car that I bought, regardless that wasn't the one I test drove, I still took it for a ride because I was terrified I might not fit.
You always have to. We see this a lot. I worked the auto show for many years. I would see people that would just look at a car on a computer screen and say, oh, I am going to buy one of these. I love this car. And then they sit in it at the auto show and they say, where's the rest of it? Who can fit in this thing?
Yeah.
Where's the rest of it?
So that's
funny.
interesting. So again, and this is where the whole concept of not really selling serving really
Right,
comes
right.
into play, because if you genuinely want to help somebody make the right decision so they don't lose their tail on a car that's not going to be worth anywhere near what they paid for it, the only way to do that is to figure out what they want and then give it to them.
I think that can be taken into any business standpoint. But now my wife is looking for a new car right now, so I'm going with her to try and find these cars and sit her down with it, and she hates the negotiating part. She's the kind of person who says, oh, this costs X, here's X plus a little bit more so I don't have to talk to you. So the experience part, I think, is really a huge factor because I'm paying more attention to it when it's not my car. I'm paying attention to the words people are using. I'm paying attention to how people are backing off a little, giving us a little room, or being right up in our face the whole time. And it's like, I'm not going to buy from you if you're right here.
Right.
So I think that personal touch, that personal experience, man, I mean, we've already been talking about it, but it goes so much further than I think people think.
100%.
And again, like I can think of it in every example. Like you said, going to a restaurant, if someone goes above and beyond, I don't mind paying for that because they're worth it. And they made our night.
It's the same thing with DJing and DJing weddings. You know what? It's worth it because they make your night. They make your experience.
Yep.
100%. And it's funny because I do speaking engagements on do-it-yourself marketing. Side note, there are a lot of parallels between being a keynote speaker and being a DJ. It's funny. Like my life has gone full circle. 15 years ago, as a DJ, I'm saying it's going down Saturday nights at the club, 11 to 1. As a keynote speaker, you're saying it's going down Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. at the Chamber of Commerce. We got coffee. It's hilarious. People want to get bottle service with the DJ. People want to go out to lunch with the speaker. It's the same thing. It's hilarious how many parallels that there actually are in this.
Obviously, you've been in a lot of different businesses and, you've learned a lot. What do you think is the biggest mistake that most business people make?
Not investing in continuing education.
Oh, that was quick.
100%.
Okay, tell us about that.
Yeah.
Well, again, you know what? The richest place in the world is the graveyard, and I don't think there's going to be any new content ever that comes out in the history of the world. Everything's recycled. Everything at this point is out there in books. And if you take a look at just a very, very basic level, business, again, is problem solving. People exchange money to solve problems. So if somebody else has figured out what you aspire to do, just pay them to do it. You could pay with your time, which you can't get back, or you can invest a little bit of money and get your time back and do it better and save yourself the headaches. Now, it's interesting, persona marketing started because I had to figure out how to do all of this stuff myself. If you don't mind me asking, how long have both of you been in the marketing world?
Full on marketing, I would say 2020.
Yeah,
But
we started it right around the pandemic, so going on 4 years.
Yeah.
And you're more, if I'm hearing you correctly, more so on the creative side, on
Yes.
the production
Yes.
side.
Yes.
Are you running any of the ads or designing any of the campaigns?
we are helping them design campaigns around our content.
Okay.
Yep.
So this is funny, and I'm sure you will agree with this. And anybody who's watching this too, you will probably get a laugh at this. There is a massive disconnect between three areas: sales, marketing, and graphic design. 3 different personality types, 3 different skill sets.
Ain't that the truth?
And it's so funny. And I've had to be all 3 of these people. So your salespeople are usually big personalities. They're usually energetic. They're fun to listen to. They're charismatic. They're great presenters. But they're usually very short-sighted. And the fact that if they are going to invest in continuing education, what do they usually focus on? What do I say when somebody's in front of me? How do I improve my closing ratio? There's nothing wrong with that. But you can bat 1,000. You can close every single deal that you touch. It won't do you much good, though, until you create an opportunity to sell. So by default, you need to learn how to market your business. Most salespeople, awful marketers, which is why, as somebody who spent so much time in the car business, I have yet to find another car salesman, period, that continuously showed up to networking events. Why? Because they're sitting there waiting for somebody to walk into the front door and not planting seeds. Now, your marketers, on the other hand, very different personality type. Your marketers are usually really, really smart people that know advanced stuff. These are the people that know the KPIs, the CTRs, the PPC, the sales funnels, the email automation, the drip campaigns, the big words and acronyms. Your marketers know how to do this. but you have smart people trying to explain advanced stuff, which goes over everybody's head.
Oh shit, ain't this the truth?
It's so spot on.
Wow.
So marketers struggle with sales and salespeople struggle with marketing.
Yeah.
So if you just happen to learn the skill set of both, you doubled your market value right there. But if you're going to market online, you still need to have a piece of content to display.
Correct.
Salespeople usually don't have the bandwidth or the patience or the desire to learn graphic design. They usually attempt to tell the creatives what to do, and there's usually a little bit of a disconnect because of communication. And the marketers usually have somebody on speed dial. But the thing is, your creatives, they're great at making things look pretty, scroll stopping, production-based, which is everything. But a lot of creatives are not copywriters, and the copywriting is what actually sells. Your salespeople know that, but they don't know how to actually make the content to display, to run ads behind. So where am I going with this? Is there's this huge disconnect. And if you are the brains of a business and you know sales, marketing, and graphic design, you can essentially write your own paychecks.
That's a lot.
That was a lot.
That's a lot.
What kind of tea did you give me again?
I don't know.
It's called kratom.
Tell us about some of the mistakes you've made as you were learning all these businesses.
I think this is really intriguing because I think, I mean, something we always like to talk about is we're not perfect. I mean, the amount of times that we've messed up our own business, I mean, there's a reason we rebranded, you know?
Yeah.
And I think everyone learns at a different level. And I think no one goes into their business knowing everything they have to do the right way. I'm sorry, it just doesn't
for sure.
exist.
Absolutely.
We always like to hear, like, you know, what are some pitfalls that other people have had? Because, you know, I have imposter syndrome all the time. I'm having it right now listening to you.
I know. I feel like I'm
not
like
that cool.
we should just like go upstairs and have some lunch and just let him run the whole show.
I was like, I'm gonna go make a sandwich.
I know,
this is the Alan Coffee Show.
I know.
Alan
Alan
Tea.
Oh, man. I'm trying not to make this a one-sided
No,
conversation.
no,
That's
you're
all
totally.
good.
We're
No, it's all
learning
good.
so much.
No, like, yeah, but that's
but
it,
like
is-
we want to hear like some of the ways that you failed and what you've learned from it.
Yeah, I'll go over two very, very simple ones.
Okay.
And there's a reason why I was kind of picking on the creatives for a second, because
please
DJs
do.
get grouped into that creative category.
Okay.
So a lot of times your creatives say, hey, you know what? First off, creatives are usually a different personality type, more on the introverted side a lot of times, because there's an immense amount of brain power that goes into editing and graphic design and all of these things. So that also holds true when it comes to DJing. So I took the route when I first started my company of saying, hey, you know what? Even though I really want to get booked at the best nightclubs out there, instead of going out and schmoozing and marketing and networking, I'm going to spend my time getting so good that when somebody hears me, they say, oh my God, I got to book this guy. But you know what? Nobody ever heard me because I never learned how to market myself. So at the end of the day, I can't buy from you if I don't know that you exist. You can have the
Valid.
perfect
That's so fucking
product.
valid. Okay,
It's-
I'm writing that down.
I can't buy from you if I don't know that you exist. So you have to get the words out in one way, shape, or form. Now, the other thing, and this was something that I learned right away in the car business, I was almost fired several times within the first 6 months of my stint in the car business. And it was not for lack of effort. I will tell you that. It was because I never had somebody to actually sit me down and say, Alan, stop talking, start asking questions. I was talking to everybody the same. I was a hyper young kid that did not dress or look the part because I wanted to be a DJ. So selling cars in the North Shore, here I am with spiky hair, looking like I just got out of the Jersey Shore in loud clothing at 21 years old. And I would have, you know, a 75-year-old grandma or grandpa come in that just wants something simple. And here I am talking about this sound system is sick. And this
Yeah.
Bluetooth, and this tech, would you just take a look at the rear view camera? They didn't care.
Nope.
So it wasn't until I was almost fired multiple times for lack of production that I finally had somebody sit me down and say, Alan, you need to figure out why this person wants to buy the car. You need to figure out why they want something and then give it to them.
Yep.
So that's one of the things that
Got
most
to ask
people,
a lot of questions. Yeah.
they can either figure this out by trial and error, which costs you time that you can't get back, or you could just start reading books or hire a coach. I'm a big believer in this. You can read the book or you can hire the author.
That's a good point. I think consulting is one of those things, like, you don't need to look for a consultant. You don't need to look on Google for a consultant. You can look up someone who knows their shit and say, hey, can I buy some of your time?
For sure. That's it. And that's why I love what you guys are doing right here. Because again, before people pay with their money, they pay with their time. Consuming your content, figuring out if you are worth hiring.
Perfect.
So if there's
100%.
something that you're into, consume the free content. But the only thing that's better than free is fast. And if you want fast results, that just means work together. You get free tickets right now to Six Flags Great America. But if you got to wait 2.5 hours in every single line, free just became not fun.
100%.
One of my favorite answers whenever people say like, well, why are you just giving away all these things? Because I also have another channel where I talk about like, this is how to film things and how to edit things to make your stuff look better. And it's like, people always say, well, those are your what make you people want to hire you. I'm like, no, people want to hire me because I work well with them and I give them the product that they actually want. But my belief is, yeah, you can take all my tips and tricks and strategies and everything else, but now you just watched 200 hours of content. Cool. Who has that kind of time? Who's running a business?
Right.
Who actually has stuff to do?
Right. And keep this in mind, though. Should somebody actually consume that much content, look at the level of trust.
And that's it. It's like if you're watching my stuff for 200 hours, guess what? I'm your imaginary friend.
You know, 100%. You know that I can solve your problem, which is why when I say, for an extremely low price of $14,288 for 30 minutes of my time, I will happily solve your problem. I'm sure you can understand why, right?
Correct.
Because the past 50 years of videos that you just watched.
Correct.
So
Add up to that. That was a joke, by the way.
Well, no, I mean, he brings up a good point about what was the artist goes into a bar and says, oh, I know you. You're an amazing artist. Can you do me a sketch? And he gives him a sketch on a napkin. He goes, that'll be $20,000. He goes, $20,000? It took you 3 seconds. Goes, yeah, but it took me 40 years to get it down to 3 seconds.
Yep.
it's spot on. 100%.
100%.
Let's say, I think a lot of the people watching this are probably business owners already. They probably either have pitfalls or hopefully they're just enjoying the conversations we have. But let's say someone's just starting out, like day one, what the hell do I do? They're smart enough to know I need to do a little research before diving into the deep side of the pool, which that was not me. I took this kind of marketing mindset way later on into my career. So what would you say for someone who is literally sitting down going, I need to quit my job. I can't do this anymore. I have this passion that I know will help people. What would you give them something like advice or encouragement, or what can you give them to be like, okay, I can actually tackle this?
I would literally go on ChatGPT, insert whatever the name is that passion is, and say, what are 5 ways I can turn this into a business? Easiest way to do that.
Wow.
And I gotta add to that just because I play with ChatGPT a lot. If you don't like those, just say 5 more.
Yeah, or give me 50
Yeah.
or whatever it is.
It's I'm sorry. I'm still trying to comprehend how like you can just keep asking it questions and it doesn't get mad. Like
It's hilarious.
It's just a lot about your
I
relationships.
swear, I'm like, oh, I don't want to annoy you too much, but
Right.
can you give me like 30 more ideas? I'm like, it's crazy that it just does it for free and
It's
it's
nuts.
there for everybody. It's like, how are people not taking advantage of this?
I just don't understand it. It's insane. I mean, a little side hustle right over here. Let's say that you wanted to start up a market research company. You could literally take that exact prompt sequence that I just did and go business to business to business and say, hey, $500, here's what I'll do. I will list out 10 pain points that your target customers are experiencing right now. Here's the prompts, and here's how you can create content.
My only stipulation to this is, again, it might not be giving you exact information. I think it's a broad stroke tool, and it's beautiful for that. And again, like I pay for it. I use it on the daily. But if I wouldn't want to like say like this is exactly the numbers, because I think the information I've gotten back from it is not always accurate.
It's not always accurate.
Yeah.
No.
So I think like in broad strokes, it's mind-blowingly good. I'm just a little hesitant.
do
about,
your research
But do your
anyway,
research.
yes.
So I like to talk, Alan, and sometimes I forget where it started.
So I'm here to translate from Jason's brain to most people.
Welcome to
So,
Coffee and Cameras.
yes.
I'm Detour. Welcome to the show.
Usually I'm the detour, so yeah. You're welcome. Yes.
So ChatGPT, it's an open source. Like use it. It is
Use it.
free.
It's free.
Freemium.
And then from there, as soon as you figure out the ways to make money, ask for 5 lead magnets. A lead magnet is something that you give for free in exchange for a name, email address, and phone number. You can't sell until you create an opportunity to sell. So let's say that somebody here wanted to potentially take my course on do-it-yourself marketing. I could say, all right, well, if you're interested in learning 5 easy ways that you can market yourself without spending any money, go and get my ebook. Go to getallensbook.com, fill out the form, let me know where to send it. Now, the only person that would be interested in downloading that is probably somebody who is in the market for a course on how to grow their business.
Bingo.
So that, again, before people pay with their money, they're paying with their time. So ask for lead magnets, and then you can even say, all right, create the lead magnets. There you have it.
Wow.
Yeah.
It'll do it for you.
I'm kind of pissed right now that I didn't have ChatGPT when I was starting my business.
Yeah,
'Cause
but we have it now.
I know.
And I will say the lead magnets we've created that are sitting on our Google Drive right now is immense.
Oh, it's great.
Just waiting for the email marketing plan to start.
Yep. So, I mean, the reality is I look at this from a standpoint of I learned all this about, 7, 8 years ago, the advanced stuff with marketing, where you used to actually have to have framework on how to make a Facebook ad, and you didn't have AI to just write it for you. I mean, Jasper came out, I want to say 4 years ago at this
Oh
point.
my God, is it 4
What's
years?
Jasper?
I think so.
I don't even know.
Jasper was ChatGPT. I'm not going to say repackaged, but before it was mass accessible, that was the content writing service.
Oh, okay.
And they used to charge like 70 to $100 a month, I think.
What?
Something like that, which I would have gladly paid for it
It's
6 years
not
ago.
that high.
Oh my God.
For,
And now
for
it's like,
copywriting?
wow. And now it's $20 for ChatGPT.
Now it's 20.
Now it's free.
Well,
Or
it's
free?
it's free.
Wow.
Yeah, for $20 you get a 4.0. Is it at 4.5 yet?
Yeah, there's 4 and then there's 4.0. 4.0 is the newest,
Oh,
and that
okay.
has the text-to-image integration. So let's say
Ooh.
for meme
Oh, yeah.
ideas, I could say, give me 5 meme ideas for a realtor to promote their business on social media.
So it gives you the visual and the text?
Now it will.
Wow.
Once it gives you the idea, you can say, well, create the meme. And then it does it. Before, you would do a 2-part process, and this is some of the stuff that I teach in my classes, is you could source the idea based off of templates and then go to a meme database, and then you manually do it, which, again, takes 30 seconds to 2 minutes tops.
Right.
But now it'll actually make it for you.
Wow. That's crazy.
So you can worry about other shit.
Isn't
like
it great?
bringing in business.
wow.
Right?
Or going on awesome podcasts.
Or going on
Or-
awesome podcasts.
Or being in strangers' basements.
Something that you've brought up is you have multiple websites. Why?
Great question. So part of the reason why I have multiple websites is to trigger different workflows from each one. Somebody who's interested in downloading my ebook has not received my full keynote. Somebody who's received my full keynote maybe has not received my ebook. So now, what I can do is I can source it and I can trigger a workflow as soon as somebody fills out that form.
Right.
This is diving into the more advanced stuff, your CRMs, your sales funnels and stuff like that. But I've probably got 20 different domains.
Wow.
That you're
okay.
actually using.
So I think probably 10 of them are up and running.
Okay.
Wow.
That's incredible. And that's clever as hell.
Yeah, that way I can just drop it. Like if somebody's like, all right, well, how does somebody get your course? All right, well, go to allens3daycrashcourse.com or go to getallensbook.com. It's for $10 to go out and buy that on GoDaddy. It's well worth it.
Yes. And we always say that too. It's like buy up the URLs, buy something you can actually use and that's easy to remember, it's easy to spell.
Right.
Like for instance, some guy was camping on Kamala walls for the website and he just sold it for like $50,000.
Is it Walls?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Will? Oh my God, why am I blanking on this?
Wall
right
or
now?
Waltz or whatever. Here's
Waltz,
the other thing too.
yeah.
And I don't know what it sold for. Wind the clock back about a month and a half ago. Hawktua.com. Whoever bought that. I mean, as soon as I saw that video for the first time, I'm like, you know what?
But-
How funny would that be
Buy it.
to buy it?
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
I'm kidding.
Well,
Oh God, it's
I'll show it. I'll show it after the
Okay.
episode.
you've
It
seen
may or may not be appropriate.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's
Okay.
it was a flash in the pan. It was like 2 weeks of people making fun of this girl, well, or championing her, I guess.
Oh, wait. The
Hawk
breakdancing girl?
Yes. So let's move on.
I'm sorry. sorry.
So you have these alternate websites. Do any of them link together to make like a grid of connections or?
Yeah, so if you go to connectwithalanstern.com, that's my microsite. So I don't like to call it a digital business card because it's more elaborate. This is actually like a service that I build out for people. For somebody who wants firstnamelastname.com, that doesn't want to spend $4,000 to $6,000 on, a full-blown website.
Right.
But wants something more elaborate than a digital business card, like a blank or a hi hello or a ovu or a dot, any of those services. That's what it is. So all my social media handles and most of my lead magnets, including where to watch a free presentation on the heat method, free ebook, all of that's linked right there.
Okay, that's clever. And I love that I didn't even have to ask where can people find you. You just gave me everything.
Yeah, and if you want a microsite, you can go to getamicrosite.com.
Oh, what else you got?
Let me see. What do I do? I have
what do I do?
I think I have allenswebinar.com, watchallenspeak.com, getallenscourse.com. We got a whole bunch on upcoming courses that I haven't.
These are all just labeled
I know,
here,
right?
by the way.
No, those are things he owns. He's not actually doing anything with it.
No, they're all bought.
Okay.
I think
But
anyways.
for the main site that you want people to go to is
connectwithalanstern.com.
there you go.
If you'd like my social media handles, or if you want just a free, again, no strings attached, 35-minute keynote on the heat method and how you can use it and pull everything off in 2 minutes or less, dropsomeheat.com.
There you go.
Yeah, that's absolutely
That's
perfect.
perfect.
And guys, literally, if you're going to take anything away from this, take the whole thing, because there was a shitload of information today that you need to take to heart. But go to Alan's site, because we're going to go to Alan's site,
Yeah,
and we're going to sign up, and you're going to have our emails to harvest.
Oh, I already signed us up.
That's
I
right, you
already,
did.
yeah.
That's right, you did.
I love it.
I already
appreciate
get
it. I
your
saw you came through.
emails. Yep.
Yeah,
I
she
know.
saw. She's like, I'm getting emails. Like
Yeah,
already.
no, this is great. I'm like, I'm not allowed. I'm totally shameless when it comes to free shit. Give me all the free
Yeah,
shit.
why not?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because I'm just
Because the more you read it, the
There
more
you
you
go.
digest it, the more you believe in it, the
Yep.
more he has value, and the
Yep.
more he has
sure.
authority.
Yep.
And guess what? If we can't do something sometime, I want to bring in more business. Focus on this for me.
Yeah,
because
there
I
you
don't
go.
want to do it, and do it right for me.
For sure.
And that's the point. Alan, thank you so much.
Appreciate
for
the
coming
opportunity,
today.
man.
This has been so
great jamming
much
out
fun.
with both of you.
You too. It was fun. I can't believe I learned so much. I have 2 whole pages worth.
Are we doing the exit clink? Because
Oh,
did the,
never
exit
did an
clink.
exit clink.
Exit clink.
the exit clink. There we go.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Nice
Cheers.
meeting you.
Likewise.
As of right now, he's still alive. I mean, we're in the basement. Let's just turn off the lights.
This is the good life. Whoa, oh.